Are you an overseas nurse getting ready to write the CBT? Do you want to know how I passed the CBT in 1 hour? Or what I did to study? If you want to know all that, stay tuned as we dive into this video. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Nurse Nyamuch. For those of you who don't know me, I am an overseas new graduate nurse from Canada. I'm currently living and working in the UK. I've gone through all of I've done all the checks onto my application. So the next step was for me to write the CBT, which I've done and passed it. CBT, wow. So nicely abbreviated. Do you want to know what it stands for? Computer-based tests. That's it. So what is the CBT? So CBT is one of the tests of competencies that you need to write as an overseas nurse in order to become a nurse in the UK. Structure of the CBT, it's 120 multiple choice. You have 4 hours to write it, and you have to write it at the Pearson VUE Testing Center. Kind of sounds familiar, like a test I've done. Is it another NCLEX? Y'all, that's exactly how I felt when I read all that. When I looked into it, I was like, is this another NCLEX? Because I just cried, or I just spent 5 months crying and preparing for NCLEX. I have to do this again? Let me reassure you, it's not. It's not like NCLEX. The only similarities that it has with NCLEX is those that I've listed. However, when you go and actually write the test, it's not remotely as difficult as NCLEX was. So no, it is not another NCLEX, for those of you wondering, those of you from Canada or the US. So the 120 multiple choice questions that you write are going to be field specific, which means if you are going to register as an adult nurse, you're going to get 120 multiple choice, say in the general area of adult nursing. Same with pediatrics, same with midwifery, mental health. So you would write it at your local Pearson VUE Center. So mine was 15-20 minutes away, so it just depends. There's various Pearson VUE centers around. For those of you who are still overseas, because this is a part that you typically write while you're still in your home country, you just look for your local Pearson VUE Center. For me, because I'm already in the UK, I wrote it here in one of the local Pearson VUE centers near my house. The cost of the CBT, it is now £83 to write the CBT. So the CBT, once you write it, it is valid for 2 years, meaning within that 2 years you have to go on to pursue the next step of the registration process. And then after the 2 years, if you haven't really gone any further with it, it would expire, so you probably will have to redo it. So how it works is once everything in the NMC has validated all the information you've given them and they believe that you are eligible, so then the NMC is going to send you an email regarding the ATT, also known as the authorization to take tests. Email will allow you to then go and book your test through the Pearson VUE website, which is where you will be asked to reset your password and so on. Just kind of follow the steps. From there on, once you've reset your password, that's when they'll ask you to pay the fee. So then you'll pay the £83 fee. And once you've paid that, that's when they will give you a calendar which will show you various different dates that are available to write this test. So for those of you who have gone through NCLEX and who have done NCLEX, once you get to the Pearson VUE Center, it is going to be very similar layout and how the process goes. So you're gonna try and get to the Pearson VUE Center about 15 minutes early, just because some of the things that they can ask you can take some time. Get there early so that you're not rushing, you're not stressed about it. Once you get there, they're going to need a piece of ID, government piece of ID. So if you are abroad, I used my Canadian passport. When you get to the testing center, they're not going to allow you to have anything on you. So phones, bags, even water, look at that. Water is not going to be brought into the testing center, so it all is placed in a locker. COVID time, so you will have to wear a mask throughout your exam. The CBT is almost like the NMC wanting you to know that you know their code of conduct and that you know their standards of practice and such kind of thing. And they also want to know like if you are going, what your priorities is like, and are you going to choose? Like what kind of priority system will you have and things like that. So some of the topics that will be on the CBT, you need to know safe practice. They're going to ask you questions on safe practice and what would you do in instances like that. They're going to ask you on like communication questions, and so just be aware of those and kind of like go through those in your head and like start to ask yourself, what would you do kind of thing. They're also going to ask you safeguarding questions. That's a huge one that you need to know. They're going to ask you questions on medication administration, dosage calculations and such. So I would just say, just study for it. I found it not to be as difficult as I thought because I was getting in my head about it, especially having written NCLEX. However, I think that's also why I didn't take it lightly. So next part, how did I study for it and what did I do to study for it? First thing I did was I looked at the nursing code. I looked at the code on the NMC website. I also looked at the practice standards on the NMC website. I basically looked at the NMC website and used any resources that they kind of provided. Also, luckily for me, I work on a ward where we recruit international nurses all the time. They also had resources that they provided to me from their, say, agency. If, as an international nurse, if you're coming with an agency, typically the agency will provide you these booklets and information guidelines as to you and to aid you in the process. For me, because I didn't come with an agency and I came on my own, it's a little bit more tricky because I had to find these resources on my own. And same with like my ward manager and people on the unit who were members of senior team didn't also know how to help me, and they didn't have the resources available to them. I did the CBT 1001 or 1000 questions. So let me know if you need a hand or if you need those. The other thing that I used was an app. The app that I used is called the NMC CBT Test. It's very similar to the 1000 questions that I've gotten from people, except this one, it breaks it down into 10 different tests that are free, and then if you want any more, you will have to pay for them. So essentially what you do is, obviously at the top it gives you a sample test that I'm going through it. So at the top it gives you a sample test. So if we were to click that right now, it says it's free. It tells you how many questions it is and the duration that you get, the duration of time. So typically these are 100 questions each per test that you go through. So if we go to the sample test right now, we get started. It will go ahead and ask us various questions. So it's just going to say, what is the role of the NMC? And then you go ahead and choose answer in regards to that. So obviously we would choose that it regulates nurses, midwives in the UK to protect the public. So that's the role of the NMC. So then from there on you would just go next. You would go on and do the next question. The thing is about these questions is it doesn't tell you what the answer, no, it tells you what the answer is, but it doesn't tell you rationales. So that's up to you to kind of figure out. On here, there will be questions that repeat themselves. So if they're very repetitive, you just gotta answer them the same. Or if you think it's a different answer it differently. I thought this was a really handy thing, especially because the 1000 questions that I got, they're very similar to this. They are almost the exact same questions, and it was a booklet. It was very hard. Whereas this one, we're in a world of technology. You're laying on the couch, whatever you're doing, just pull out your phone and go through the questions on there. There are questions on here too that are wrong, and you will see, because they're repetitive, you will find out that they're wrong because you will answer it one way, and then the next time you get it again, you will answer it another way, or the way it said it would be, and it's just wrong. So the answers, some of them are wrong, but for the most part, it was nice and easy. I didn't think the CBT was as bad as I thought. I finished it within an hour. I also prepared for 2 weeks, but I wouldn't say I prepared for it religiously for 2 weeks. I prepared for it here and there, but also for me, that's just my experience. So as I would give to anybody else, prepare for it as you would normally prepare for any test. Don't take it for granted because you do only get 2 tries to do it before you have to do the whole registration over again. So don't go thinking, oh, it's a piece of cake or anything like that, and then you fail, and then you only have 1 chance left. Because once you fail the test twice, you're going to have to restart that NMC process again. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, doing the NMC process has been months. I've been at this process since June of last year, 2020, and it's now March, so still not qualified yet, or not have a pin. Take a deep breath, go in there, and ace that. You're gonna kill it. That's a wrap. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, guys, and let me know if these videos are quite helpful for any of you guys, or let me know if you are overseas nurses and where you're from. Like, comment down below. I know on my ward we have a lot of people from India, from the Philippines, lately, but I know we have international nurses from Africa as well. There hasn't been any new ones from Africa recently, so mostly India and the Philippines as of right now. Dubai as well. So let me know where you're from. Next up for me now is to get on an OSCE course and then do the OSCE. And then we're there. Road to nursing. Alright guys, we'll talk to you later.